what did Wayne Gretzky say about, like, if you don't shoot at the net, what do you typically do? You don't get any goals. You don't hit
Yeah.
anything, right? So it's about focus. It's about focusing your energy on what you're gunning for. Aim at it. Point, shoot, ready, fire, aim, 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 ready, fire, aim. Just keep doing it and doing it and recalibrating. You might have to re-aim at the target. Like you said, I have to reevaluate. But it's like having a GPS, right? When you have a mission, vision, values, and a clear focus on where you're going and what you're looking to achieve, big picture, you always have the target. So what are the secrets? How do some of the most successful entrepreneurs find the freedom that we all got into business for in the first place? How did they find the time, energy, and resources to launch and scale strong? And how do entrepreneurs like us align our time, money, and energy in a way that will allow us to reach what we set out to achieve? These are the key questions, and this community will give you the answers. Welcome to the Prosperity Movement.
Boom, we are live.
All right. Well, this is exciting. So you said that the topic for today is the secrets to success in life and in trading, basically.
Yes.
And I'm going to go ahead and add to that and say that today we're going to talk a lot about power and dominion. And I want to go ahead and say in the chat, who here wants power and who wants dominion over your life? Nobody lie. Come on, let's be real. Who wants power and who wants dominion in their life? Always for sure. Yes, please. Awesome. Katrina's the only person who wants power
There we go.
and dominion.
Sounds good.
I'll take it. Yes, both. Okay, cool. So I did say that I was going to drop some ancient text. And yeah, I'm going to be throwing, like, we're talking biblical principles here, okay? And I know that not everyone here is of the faith. And for those that are coming in here and they're like, oh man, these guys are religious. Oh, first of all, this is not about religion. This is about living a life of wisdom infused principles from the book of Proverbs. This is about truly living what we would call kingdom principles. Okay. Because the truth is this, and you've probably heard me say it before, every person on this call and anybody listening, you were created unique. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. 1 in 400 trillion. That's the science. You're a walking miracle. You were created to have dominion on earth as it is in heaven. And so I'll drop a few texts that you can go and you can study this for yourself. And I'm not going to read them, but Matthew 6:10, John 8:12, Genesis 1:26, Luke 10:19, Psalm 8:6, Romans 6:14, and 1 John 5:19. So if you need to go back and listen to this to go find those, just Google it. This is where this comes from. And this is where I say that each and every one of you on this call, you were created to have dominion on earth as it is in heaven, not to have dominion over people, but you're supposed to have dominion over specific areas of your life. We are entrusted. The world walks around entitled as if they deserve whatever, when the truth is what we deserve is probably not half as good as what we got because of our inherent, like, selfish tendencies. You're born inherently selfish. That's the truth of it, right? But you were created to have dominion and power over multitudes of different domains, right? One of those domains happens to be your time. We talk about the 4 pillars of prosperity. One of those domains is your time. You're supposed to have dominion over your time. How many people on this call actually feel like you have a sense that you've got control over your time? Okay. And let's go on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is you have absolutely no control over your time. And 10 is absolutely, I got my time figured out. I'm a beast. I'm a master of being able to control my time. There are people here that are saying 0. We've got 7s. We've got 5s. We've got 4s, 2s. There's some real truth happening in here, right? So you are meant to have dominion over your time. Last week, we talked about the 4 pillars of prosperity. The 4 of them are time, The next one is your health. The next one is relationship. And then the next one is your finances. We talked about how important it is to have dominion of each. And most importantly, your time is where it has to start. Why? We all discussed, and people chimed in and said, you can't get it back. It's the most valuable thing we have. And so it's kind of scary at the thought. And you probably, is there a lot of people on this call that ever kind of feel anxious? Like, and you can drop a yes or no, but anxious because it's like, you feel like you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off and you don't know what's coming next. And as soon as I wake up, I know, right? Isn't it crazy? I know what that feels like. Used to. Janelle says used to. She might be learning a thing or two. So it's awesome. I love that. And I want everybody on this call to have the same answer as Janelle, which is used to. Okay. Because you should have peace. You should have power over these things. Now, not to say that challenges don't come up, not to say that things don't happen and that you're not going to have challenges and things are not going to change. But when you live with intentionality, it changes the game exponentially. Would you agree with that statement, Zach?
Heck yeah. I actually think there have been a couple of, let's call it dominion moments in my life. In time, there's been quite a few, and maybe you guys can relate, but there's definitely moments where you might feel like that chicken with its head cut off, right? And you're not in control of time, but on the contrary, time seems to be controlling you. There comes a point in time to put your foot down, right? And if something is demanding your time, demanding to take that dominion away from you, there's a pivot point where you can just say no, as uncomfortable as that might be. I can identify several moments where it's like, I said no, this is my time, I'm not going to do that thing, and all of a sudden things started turning around, right? So that's, I think, probably something that could help you to get to the point of Janelle where you say used to. Time used to control me, now I'm in control of it.
No is one of the most powerful words in the English language, Cameron says. And I would say that's, yeah. I mean, especially because John 10:10 says that the thief came to seek, kill, and destroy. And then, of course, but I came to give you life overflowing. Everybody knows that itty bitty shitty committee in between your ears, that little voice that's telling you you're not good enough and you're a failure and you're not worthy. And anybody ever get those thoughts and feelings?
Oh yeah.
Be real with me for a second, because I know I still get them from time to time, and I have to reevaluate, and I actually have to tell myself the truth and actually point out the truth. That's not your voice.
Yeah.
That's not God's voice either. That's that third party that's getting in the way of your calling. That's that party that's getting in the way of your purpose, pulling you away from the fruits of who you are, the ego. Yeah. Hey, that's another name for it. There's a lot of different names for it. Ego. I would say 110%. You're not created to live in those lies. Right. And so go ahead there, Zach.
And they are lies, right? I mean, it's like, okay, so we're quoting, we are quoting certain scriptures and stuff from the Bible. That's truth, of course, subject to your beliefs, but in our experience and in our opinions and in our own knowledge based on those experiences, that's truth. And if it doesn't come from there, if it's coming from the itty bitty shitty committee in your head, that's not truth. That's made up. And it's one of those things. I don't know if you guys have heard the story. Essentially, I don't even know how true this story is, or if somebody made it up to illustrate a point. Doesn't matter. The point exists, where it's like a Native American family, and there's a son that goes to his mom and says, "Hey, Mom, I feel like there's two wolves inside of me fighting, and one's a good wolf, and he wants all the good things to happen, and one's the bad wolf telling me I'm nothing and I'm worthless." which wolf is going to win? And his mom says, the one that you feed the most. Right. And so which voice do you pay attention to as it comes up? And so being aware and noticing it is first step. Next, don't feed it, starve it. Right? You want to feed the positive stuff.
Well, what did Henry Ford say? Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Right? Well, listen to that guy. But do you know where he got those concepts and ideas? Biblically, it says that to set your mind on higher things, set your mind on the kingdom. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all of these things will be given unto you. That's what it says. You know, and a lot of people will say, "Oh, well, the universe, and let does manifest from the universe." Okay, who created that thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Who do you want to follow? Who do you want to listen to in regards to the voice? You know, the universe, or the one who created the perfect equation for all of it to occur. Right? That to me is like, that's everything. It's like, you know, Einstein talks about compound interest being the most powerful force in the universe, but what about the one who created it?
Yeah. And if
right,
got a side note, if you guys want to kind of get to know, because I'll tell you what, when I started learning about crazy things like quantum mechanics and crazy stuff like that, yeah, you know, I'm not gonna lie, there was a point in time of like doubts surrounding God and things like that. I mean, I'm sure all of us have had doubts in that arena. I'll give you guys a quick suggestion outside of the Bible of something that you can read that kind of connects the dots in a really, in my opinion, a very clear way. And it's one of my favorite books. It's called A Happy Pocket Full of Money. Okay, it's basically a believer explaining quantum mechanics.
wow.
It's essentially it's what Brian was just got done saying, is that God is a higher power, higher than everything that we know. So if you think, oh, we know this thing and it's crazy, and quantum mechanics and subatomic particles and all this crazy stuff that can be manifested, yeah, who made all of that? Right? And that's essentially the point, but he connects the dots in a very scientific way. So if your mind thinks along those lines, it's a really good book for you to be able to connect those dots. Little side note for you.
That was a book that helped with my anxiety regarding time, guy says. Awesome. Now that we're on book suggestions, I know I said this last week, but if you have not heard of this book yet, it will completely change your life. It is called Living Forward by Michael Hyatt. Yeah. Okay, we just highly recommend that anybody and everybody, if you are struggling and you put down numbers in here stating that you're struggling with time and you feel like you've got more things to do than you have time, or some people will say more month than money and all that kind of stuff, read that book. It'll change your life. You know, I wish Travis was on this call right now. He'd be able to tell you his story on how he literally was broke, living behind his buddy's barn and in a trailer, to within 9 months earns over 6 figures. Okay. Like, it's doable. A lot of you don't even realize that there's this thing in the, like, man, it just gets me fired up. Like this Matthew 7:7-8, seek, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and the door will be open to you. If we were to summarize the Bible in 3 simple steps, it is literally ask your heavenly Father, seek his face, seek first the kingdom of God, right? Seek, ask him, and then as soon as you get the opportunities, you'd be surprised what happens when you just go to have that conversation. This is what separates religion from relationship, having that conversation. Right? I know it's 1,000% doable. That is what drives me nuts most days.
Yeah, Katrina, from what I'm kind of hearing just from your text here in the chat, Living Forward is going to be the book for you. I'll tell you what, it really does organize things in a very, very good way. You will have to be saying no to certain things to make it work. Okay. But it's well worth it. It is well worth it.
When it comes to your time, everybody on this call, should we, like, I feel like we're talking mostly about time today, Zach, and we might have another one about health. And then, all the other pillars that we really need to focus on. But really, when it comes to your time, that's what you do. You utilize to manage your time, to be able to focus on your health, to manage your time, to be able to focus on and intentionally have a good relationship with your spouse and your kids and your family and all that kind of stuff. And then also intentionally hone in on your RPAs, your revenue producing activities. And when you really start getting good at managing your time and you're writing these things down and you start to see the key performance indicators, you can start to see areas for improvement. Nobody's looking for perfection. You shouldn't be. Shouldn't be. That'll kill you. But progress should be your focus. And if you start to, with your time, manage that properly and completely go through a process of being able to write it down, like every week in that book, Living Forward, you're going to hear about a planner. We got this prosperity planner too that is, I'm just going to be real with people. It's inspired by what we've learned from Michael Hyatt. We're not copying. We're doing things a little differently based on what we feel is important. But I still to this day use his full focus planner. And every week, like if you would used to see my lists and what they used to look like, they were like, everybody sees a list with 20 to 30 things a day sometimes. Mine, if you look at this week, it's really interesting. But this is on average what it looks like for me. It's just like 3 or 4 or 5 things. Once I start pushing, like getting into the 7 or 8 things, I start delegating. It's either I'm paying somebody to take something off my plate, or I have a volunteer somewhere. Like yesterday, my wife was so gracious and kind. She cooked and she did my laundry. She cleaned the house. She did all those things because she knew I was just feeling the tension. And she went through and she helped me out with all those things. And I have no problem doing all those things myself, but I needed a little bit of help to get through my focus, to get my RPAs up. We both agreed that it's important for me to, get to bringing home the bacon, right?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, obviously revenue producing activities, RPAs are definitely they have a level of priority in people's lives. That's why most people have full-time jobs. Right. And one of the things that I've mentioned this book a million times. Yeah, we're going to give you like a million books. But like one of them that I like, and I'll explain one aspect to it that I really love. It's called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. And the book is really about taking extreme ownership of your life. But there is a part, and basically Jocko Willink was a Navy SEAL and he was in the war zone. And when you're in a war zone, things are chaotic. Right? If we think it's tough having a full-time job, a social life, kids, extracurricular activities, trying to learn trading, right? Running a business, whatever. If you think that's hard, like imagine life or death decisions, the same amount of stuff, but it's life or death. It's significantly harder, right? And so one of the things that he has a story in there, and I don't remember the exact details of the story, but essentially he had a dude with an injured ankle, one of his SEAL teammates. They had to get out of a gate. The gate was bolted shut, so they had to cut the bolt while providing cover fire because they were being shot at, right? So like he had like all these different things happening. And the way that they were taught was really a very simple process. Okay. And this is the process you should write down because it has everything to do with your time management. Prioritize and execute. He's got all this stuff going on. What's number 1 priority? Go. Done. What's number 2 priority? Go. Okay. And so sometimes when you do that, so Brian's talking about his schedule, he's got 3 or 4 things. And when that gets too much, what does he do? He's got to prioritize and execute, right? These are priorities. Sometimes that means some things get pushed back. Sometimes that means he has to say no to some things. But that's just the reality of it. That's how you have dominion over that time. If everything is a priority, nothing's a priority.
Amen.
Exactly.
That's good. That's
exactly.
Good. So good. Yeah, and if you are dealing with stress in your life and you're feeling those vibes that just shouldn't be there, it's a good time to take a moment to take a step back and start doing an intake of, man, Zach, you're so good at this. I've never seen anybody so dang good at managing just anything, like from an emotional standpoint, like everything. Like when this guy's under heat and under fire and some hard things are happening in his life, the first thing he does is can you explain that process of your list? Like
Yeah.
recently, like you don't have to go into detail of what exactly, the exact topic was that we were talking about the other day, but remember when
Yeah.
I was like, dude, that process is insane. Like
Yeah.
there's so much wisdom in it.
I've and I can't like say this is all from me. This is from things that I've learned from books, from mentors, from coaches, right? And I've been able to develop this. Now, part of this is because I have a very engineering like mind. So I like structure and steps, step by step stuff. And so when my mind has no structure, no steps, and it's chaos, I have to find a way to organize it. And my number one best friend is paper and pen. Paper and pen. Just give me a piece of paper, give me a pen, give me an hour, and the chaos will stop. Okay. And so essentially what I do is first thing I like to do is I like to write down everything involved. Let me think if I can. I don't want to go into detail of the exact situation, but basically, in this particular thing, there was me, another person, my current situation, and their current situation, and so it was like I had to identify where the real challenge was because there was a big disagreement. Okay.
And you could have taken massive offense, but you chose not to. You chose to go through a different lens, and it was just brilliant.
Well, that I've learned from you.
Are you kidding? I swear I'm learning this stuff from you because I'm like, that's I'm sometimes the guy that first starts shooting before I start thinking.
Well, it's something that Brian and I learned a long time ago in business is that it's easy to jump to assumptions. And like it or not, we all assume. It's like judging, right? We all judge even if we know
Human
we're not
nature is to make
supposed
snap
to.
judgments.
Right.
Human nature is to make snap judgments.
We also make snap assumptions.
Yeah.
And so we decided a long time ago, this is even, I think even before Travis, we decided let's assume the best. So when this particular individual was saying some things that could easily be interpreted, I would say the vast majority of people would get very offended by what was being said. I had in my mind, assume the best, assume the best, assume the best, right? Like, don't get like it was hard. It was not easy, but I kept my poker face, assume the best, assume the best, assume the best. And then, hey, sounds to me like we got to think and pray about this. And I got out of there, as soon as I could because I had the chaos in my head, right? And I got home. And so what I did is I wrote down everything that's involved, which was me, this person, my situation, their situation. There's 4 different things involved. And then I just mapped out, I kind of connected the dots. I'm like, okay, how do I feel about the person? Good. How do I feel about their situation? Not good. Okay. How does that person feel about me? Good. How do they feel about my situation? Not good. Okay. So I'm like, okay. So the problem is not the person. The problem is our situations. Right. So, okay, what is it about my situation this person didn't like? Boom, I made a list. Okay, what is it about their situation I don't like? Boom, I made a list. Okay, so now I've got 2 lists of things that we don't like about each other's situation. And so now it was all about like, okay, solutions. Which one, what are some ways, are these things set up in a way where there's never going to be a solution? Because if there's never going to be a solution to this particular issue, then I guess that relationship's over, right? But if there is short-term or long-term solution, what is it? Right. And so that's kind of the process. But I use that, guys, with all sorts of different kinds of time management. Go ahead, Brian.
I just want to point something out because what a lot of people also don't know, as you actually went through that process, you literally found the one source of the problem. You found, it's kind of like a mechanic goes underneath and he finds the exact thing that the whole thing, I just have to fix that. That thing's fixed. The whole thing starts moving, right? Everything works, right? And so
what's cool too is it's a really good thing I assumed the best, because that best assumption was the actual truth. if I had assumed the worst in that moment and taken offense and been like, this is dumb, and walked out and gotten mad or whatever, I would have, there's some missed opportunity.
Can I share what that thing, what that assumption like was?
Yeah, sure.
You assumed that this person cared.
Yep.
You assumed, and it's so awesome because I have a tendency, like my demeanor and me as a personality, like by the way, the person he's talking about is not me, but I like, he goes through this with me a lot. Okay. Like there's a lot of people out there that I rub the wrong way, and I don't mean to. I'm just like very like I'm a go-getter. Like, and I'm like unapologetically like no time is being wasted. I'm gonna cut right to it. And sometimes it doesn't necessarily come off as graceful as it could and it should. Like even today, well, one of the things that sexist to me after I bring up a few things, because I'm seeing things through a lens and he's seeing things through a lens, and it's part of why we work so well together. But I'm like, one of the things I had to ask him, I'm like, dude, like, is my approach, like, am I okay with my approach? He's like, honestly, dude, because we've had multiple conversations about this week, it kind of comes off as annoying, but but it's a good thing because of this.
Yeah.
Like, okay, thank you. Cool. Awesome. And I just needed to hear the other side of from his perspective and some of the things that he sees that I'm not seeing, because I'm only seeing one side, and it had to do with a result focus. And for him, he's seeing more of a progress, which is great and an important piece of the equation, which I couldn't see. Because if you understand the dynamics on how we work within this organization, I'm front end and he's basically back end. Okay. And this is a whole different like teaching in and of itself. And we're going to talk about this in coming sessions, but like the 3 steps of marketing and sales. Number 1, clarity of message. This is up front. Clarity of message. And then number 2, a compelling offer that inspires your audience to action. And then number 3, this is really important, over deliver on both experience and expectation. And so I've kind of been mostly the guy up front, and then he's the one, the delivery focus. But he kind of plays a little bit in each area. So he gets to see a higher view of everything because he's the CEO of the company. I'm the CEO. Like I'm more of a, how would you describe the CEO? Call him the visionary,
you kind of,
right?
Yeah, you kind of set the pace, and I have to figure out how to make it work.
He helps focus me too, right? Because and you learn this stuff. Another really great book, Traction. So good.
Oh my gosh.
So good.
So good.
That book, Traction. It'll take your time management to another level. When we get into the diversification phase, you start looking at that big picture. Vision is everything. That was another thing that I would kind of want to, I know we might be jumping around a little bit here, but mission, vision, values. Yeah. Mission, vision, values. We talked a bit about this last week, but has anybody given that a little bit of thought for those that were on the call last week to this week? Have you given your mission, your vision, and values a thought? Be honest, yes or no? 8.
Well, we usually say type in 8 in the chat.
Type 8. Okay, cool.
Awesome, Chris.
Awesome. Chris says 8. But in all honesty, DK Cameron says yes. Awesome. I know we've been working a little bit together too. So this is great. It's so incredibly important because like we said last week, if you don't have a mission, you don't have a vision, and you don't have a value system, you're under someone else's. And more times than not, the 90% of people that can tell you what they do, but they can't tell you why they're doing it, it's because they haven't set that intentionality in their life. I literally was on a call today with a guy who literally said, like, I hate my life.
Wow.
Like, I really don't like anything to do with how it's working. He's a French teacher in Texas. He really hates everything that he's doing. And I'm like, oh man, that sounds horrible.
Yeah.
And I can tell you it has everything to do with the fact that he doesn't have a mission, vision, values system. He's not living an intentional life. He's under someone else's, like he's being dominated. He doesn't have dominion. He's being dominated by his circumstances, dominated by someone else's thought process and their belief system. And there's no freedom in that.
Right. Yeah. And with a mission, vision, and values system, like it will help you prioritize and execute. Right. Even if we go back to the example of this person where I mapped out me, this person, my situation, their situation, back to that example, and I found the root problem. I then took that root problem and I said, okay, I have to ask a hard question. And that answer, the answer to that question is going to ultimately determine how I move forward with this individual. Because
so now tell me, do you have peace though?
Oh,
Either
yeah.
way, whatever which way it goes, do you now have peace?
Yes, for sure. Because
another thing to focus on really quick.
Yeah.
You've used this word over and over here. Solution, solution, solution. How many people here get stuck? Okay, Katrina says traction by which author? That is Gene Wickman? Gino Wickman.
Gino Wickman.
Gino Wickman. Yeah.
Thank you.
But so we were just talking about solution. How many people here get stuck in problems and you feel like you're drowning in problems? Nobody wants to say that you are, and that's okay. Have you ever been stuck in a problem and you feel like you're drowning in problems? Okay. Here's your Matthew 7:7-8. I love that. Used to. I love that. Used to. I still have problems from time to time and challenges. They happen, they occur. But when they happen, I choose to behave in a different way than I used to. Instead of asking the wrong questions, like, why is this happening to me? I go to God. My Matthew 7:7-8 moments look like, hey, God. And I literally take the time. I will stop everything. And I literally call Zach and Travis and I say, dude, I'm going to pray and take the afternoon to pray. I might crack up my guitar, whatever, just to relax, bring it down. And then I just ask, like, hey, Dad, man, like, what do you want me to learn from this? How do you want me to move forward? What is it that you want us to see? Yeah. I pray. I ask for clarity and divine direction. I ask for wisdom. Where's the solution to this? I see the problem. What's the solution? And I'll tell you what, I don't always get the answer right away. And it definitely, more times than not, does not sound like Morgan Freeman coming out of the sky or anything like that. I've never heard an audible voice to that effect. I've had, I'm not going to get into the story, but I've had an actual experience one time where there was a voice. But for the most part, how I get my answers, it's through divine ideas that I will not take credit for. Actually not most, but everything you guys experience with prosperity movement is, like, we would say God breathed. More like all the ideas that we find all these solutions, and the growth of this company is not from our own intellect. It is from seeking those solutions to that higher power. You know, so seeking, going through that process, asking, and then it'll come through, like I said, divine ideas. It'll come through sometimes Travis, it'll come through Zach because they're doing the same thing. Sometimes God speaks through people. I don't know if you guys ever heard that story of the guy who is like hanging from a cliff. And I know I've told this one to Zach quite a bit. Guy's hanging from a cliff. Okay. He's like, as soon as he runs out of gas, he's falling to his death. And so he prays to God. He says, God, help me. I need a miracle. And then a person comes by, says, hey, give me your hand. And he's like, hey, no, don't worry about it. I've been praying to God. He's going to help me. There's a miracle on the way. Okay. Next person comes. Hey, I'm here to help. He's like, no, I'm praying to God. He's going to help me. Third person comes. I'm here to help. No, I'm praying to God. He's going to help me. And then he runs out of gas, falls to his death, of course, meets his maker. He says, God, why? Why? In heaven's name, did you not help me? I was praying the whole time. He's like, dude, I sent 3 people. I sent 3 people to help you. 3 people. So God will speak through people. You have to discern sometimes. You have to discern on whether or not what is being said through the people that are speaking into your life, whether it is wise, whether it is in alignment with the fruits of the Spirit once you start learning about that stuff. But it'll be conviction sometimes. Sometimes it's I need to go say sorry to someone I care about, and it'll come at some weird times too. I've been woken up, literally, I woke up at like 2:00 in the morning a few weeks ago, And I had been praying about the idea on how this thing was going to work or whatever our last thing was. And I woke up and I was like, whoa, cool, thanks. I wrote it down and I went back to bed. And then we implemented it the next day and boom, record month, right?
Yeah.
It's like so cool.
Yeah.
There have been other times where I've woken up and I was up for hours writing down all the ideas, right? Like it'll come in some of the weirdest moments where it's like, oh, hey, there it is. Hey, like, glory to God, man. That's amazing. Right?
Yeah.
So good.
100%. So that's, I mean, finding solutions to your problems, guys, you're not alone. You know what I mean? And just like how we're not alone. And what we do is we we pray about you guys a lot. A lot. If we see anyone starting to struggle in trading, we pray. What can we do to help this person? Like, I'm not even joking. And that's actually something, it's part of our mission, vision, values. It's part of everything that we're talking about, our prosperity, 4 pillars of prosperity. Like it's all part of that whole structure. Brian and I were talking the other day. I don't know if you guys know this. I'm a fan of a podcast called Business Wars. I'm a bit of a junkie when it comes to like books and podcasts. I'm just constantly listening to stuff. But there's a business war between Microsoft and Apple. Okay. And so if any of you don't know, within the internal team of Prosperity Movement, we constantly argue between Windows and Macs and iPhones and Androids. And so I thought, oh, this is the business wars I want to listen to, right? I want to get some ammo for these fun conversations. And what I found was actually very fascinating. And I was telling Brian about this. Between the two, I would think if we based on what I learned, it seems like both Bill Gates and Steve Jobs had a vision, not just of their company, but of themselves. And by the end of their successful ventures, and I will tell you this, that vision never came to fruition. I would say that both of them are, obviously Steve unfortunately passed, but they weren't necessarily the transformed individuals that they hoped they would become with a.
And actually, when you actually read about Steve Jobs like passing and some of the advice he left when he left, it was sad, man. Dude was a very lonely individual.
He very frequently made it clear he didn't care about relationships. And so, and this is where, because when we as business people, what do? We study other businesses, right? We study what did Elon Musk do? What did he do with Tesla? What did he do with SpaceX? What did Apple do? What did Steve Jobs do with Apple? It's very important, very big, successful business, right? And so we study these businesses, but there's something really drastically different than Elon Musk, than Steve Jobs, than Bill Gates that we have that they really didn't. And that is our mission, vision, values. That's the big difference. So when it comes to how we prioritize our time, if we bring it back to time, right, both in our life and in our business, it all comes back to mission, vision, values. Okay. And so I think that's really, really important. Sweet. On time, I actually have one other thing that I'd like to point out, but it might come across a little boastful. So I'm trying not to boast here. There are times, and I've expressed this to Brian too, there are times where I have zero sympathy. And it's something I'm actually working on. I don't think it's healthy to have zero sympathy for people. but there are times that I'm seriously like, I don't understand the struggle. And the only reason I say that,
I think the word you're looking for though is empathy. I think you have sympathy. Sometimes it's more of an empathy thing.
Maybe it is. Yeah. So
or is it can it be a little bit of both?
Kind of a little bit of both. So where I'm coming from, it's kind of like, if you, okay, let's just use an extreme example. If Elon Musk somehow talked to me and was complaining about money problems, right? I'd be like, what? Are you serious? And so sometimes that's the kind of attitude I can have when somebody complains to me about time problems. Okay. And I just want to explain a little bit into why. Number one, I'm a big fan of extreme ownership. Okay. So in my mind, I'm not a victim at all. There's no outside circumstance that can possibly control my decisions. It is all on me. I am the owner of that. I have dominion over it, right? But beyond that, if we do look at my particular circumstance, with Brian, we run a successful business, which takes time, a lot of time, even a full-time job's worth of time, sometimes more than a full-time job's worth. I'm also a single dad of 6 kids, but 5 live at home with me. So I've got 5 munchkins running around. And by the way, I homeschool them. So they don't go to school. I don't get a break. Okay. When I'm done doing some tasks for business, what am I doing? Well, I got a house that needs to be maintained and cleaned, and dinner needs to be made, and dishes need to be washed, and all that kind of stuff. I go to the gym every single day. I study every single day, both scripture as well as these books that we keep mentioning and talking about in podcasts and things like that. I trade almost every single day, depending on my emotional state. But for the most part, I'm trading every day. And so as things can, and I have a girlfriend, right? So there's that whole side. And I have to coordinate.
And her girlfriend has another kid.
And she has a kid. And I have to co-parent. So I have to coordinate times with my ex-wife to see the kids and do you see what I'm saying? This is where my sympathy / empathy.
Khalil is like, Lord.
Yeah.
Holy Lord.
Lot of mercy. So I'm not saying that again to boast or even to like get sympathy. I'm saying that it's possible. Like you can have so much more control over your time as long as you can prioritize and execute. Because what in reality, what does that look like? It looks like there are days where some of my business tasks fall behind. Why? I have to prioritize the house, the kids, those kinds of things. Okay. So there are days that dishes build up a little bit. Why? I have to prioritize the business tasks. Okay. And so it is definitely, I'm mostly gray haired at 33 with 3 boys. Like, yeah, I've got no hair.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, what you're saying here, Zach, is like, I mean, and you'll get this in the Living Forward book, right? Because there's such a thing as being intentional with mapping out what an ideal week looks like. And by the way, in the whole time of actually, implementing the Living Forward focus, I've yet to have an ideal week. I might have got all of my tasks completed, but not without challenges. Not without hoops, not without but the point is that intentionality. And like, what did Wayne Gretzky say about, like, if you don't shoot at the net, what do you typically do? You don't get any goals. You don't hit anything, right? So it's about focus. It's about focusing your energy on what you're gunning for. Aim at it. Point, shoot, ready, fire, aim, 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 ready, fire, aim. Just keep doing it and recalibrating. You might have to re-aim at the target. Like you said, I have to reevaluate. But it's like having a GPS, right? When you have a mission, vision, values, and a clear focus on where you're going and what you're looking to achieve, big picture, you always have the target. It's like you think about like being on a plane, right? There is such a thing as autopilot, but you take your hands off the wheel and you have to then recourse, right? And sometimes we have to, in the middle of the week, take our hands off of this thing, let it go, reprioritize, and then do this over here. The cool thing is when you're managing it and you're recording it, it's sitting there. So like there are times where I just have to move it from one day to the next, and that's okay. But because I'm writing it down and because I'm keeping track, I can feel peace. I don't have to feel the anxiety of, wondering, am I going to forget?
Yeah. Like it's the task is like haunting you in the back.
No, I can have peace in my problems now because I can focus on the solutions and I can
And-
write these things down as we go. It doesn't all have to be done. There's not all getting done today. We're always a work in progress.
And part of that piece is being present in whatever it is that you're actually doing. Right. And so, like, as an example, last week, Saturday, I took my kids to a place called Funtopia. Come on, what kid doesn't want to go to a place called Funtopia, right? And I went there, and because even though I had still a mountain of things to do, right? But because it was all planned out, I knew exactly when I was going to get to those things. I was able to focus and be present with my kids at Funtopia and make sure the 3-year-old didn't get hurt going in these tubes and stuff, right? And so it was just what a great day, right? And that happens, that can be every day, right? And so instead of the anxiety, instead of the chaos and the running around like a chicken without a head, right? There's ways to break it down, organize it, and create a plan and prioritize and execute. And thus, that's how you get dominion over your time, because you were created to have that dominion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're not meant to be a victim in those scenarios. You're meant to have victory over all of that. I just want to share this one thing because it's so good. Where is it here?
Is your ally. And if nothing else, just wait. Just wait it out.
I got it in the middle of it.
I know that this too shall pass. You feel bad right now? You feel pissed off? You feel angry? This too shall pass. You feel great? You feel like you know all the answers? You feel like that everybody finally gets you, and there you are. This too shall pass. Time is your ally. And if nothing else, just wait. Just wait. Just wait it out. I wish.
Boom. So good. So good. Right?
Yeah.
Come on now. There are
Heck
times where we just need to take a step back. And I would say, adding on to that, just wait, pray, write it down. Preaching. Yes, sir. Lord. Love that. So good. Awesome. I don't know. Do we, like, Zach? I feel pretty good about like that whole message. Do we kind of want to open it up a little bit for people if they have any questions or like?
Yeah. You guys can pop in some questions or even some comments. We'd be happy.
Or if you want to jump up here with us, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
If you want to jump on and just chat it out with us too, that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Anybody want to chime in? Should we put Janelle on the spot? Brian King's like, I gotta run. Thanks, I'm out of here.
I'm out.
He's like, no, I'm out. Thank you. Bye.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, Brian, for being here.
Let's actually pull up Janelle. Janelle, you still with us?
Janelle. She's actually not. I don't.
Oh man, she's fired now.
Nah. So
I think it'd be fun to get maybe I know that actually Cameron. Let's pull up Cameron. Cameron, you still with us? We have about 10 minutes here. It'd be fun to pull up Cameron onto the stage here.
Yeah. Still here. All right.
Still here.
I'm gonna bring you in as a panelist. Hope you're decent. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Sweet.
He's coming in.
Very good. Stick around too, y'all, because for those of you that are new, we have something special for you. And just so everyone knows, I think next week, we did say last time, you have so I'll have to leave soon. Yeah, no, that's all good. So we'll make sure that you have a link here before you go, Mr. JP Brooks at Gmail. I'm not sure you know your name, but we'll get to that here shortly. And we'll make sure that you get this before your time that you got to jump off. But we did talk about last week how we were going to make sure that everybody here got access to the blueprint. So if you are a member, you are going to you have access. You think it's coming. You're going to be first in line to get access to the blueprint. If you are not a member, and I repeat, this is if you are not a member, we have something special for you to, just want to make sure. Yes. get access to the blueprint is jump in the calendar on the link in the comments. Again, this is for those that are not members. Those that are members, you are getting full access to the blueprint.
Yeah.
For those that are not members, if you'd like to get access to it, it is going to be a $50 product. Okay. I'm ready for the blueprint. Yes. The blueprint is going to be badass. It's everything you need to succeed in trading. So very, very powerful blueprint that we have coming out. It's been a lot of fun. Travis worked so hard to be able to piece this whole thing together. It's absolutely brilliant. James, everybody came together to make this thing shine. Okay. Because a lot of people don't realize all the little intricacies. It's not just about a strategy. It's all the little moving parts surrounding trading on how to become successful with trading. That's what's in this blueprint coming out. So again, if you're not a member, that's for non-members. If you are a member, don't jump on that calendar. You're already getting it. I promise.
No,
but if you are, $50.
and
Okay, but just so you
clear,
know, you get it for free. jpbrooks@gmail.com. Just sign up on that link in the calendar. Let's get to know. We're going to have a little coffee, and we're going to make sure that you get the blueprint for free. Okay. You're also going to have a little bit of homework when you sign up for that calendar, and just make sure you go through the homework. It's going to be life-changing. We promise. And we'll see you soon. You'll get the blueprint for free just by going on that link and signing up. All right.
So Cameron.
Yes. Great to have you, Cameron. I know we've been hanging out a little bit from time to time, and I'm really, really excited for some of the focus on what we have coming down the pipe here in phase 3. And in some of the coaching, we had you read some books. What are the ones that are your favorite right now that we've suggested for you?
Brian, you only had me read 3.
Only, and he did them all.
Pitch Anything, Never Split the Difference, and Living Forward.
Okay, which one's your favorite? Pitch Anything, Never Split the Difference, or Living Forward?
Well, so far, I like Living Forward.
You like Living Forward?
But I'm certainly looking forward to applying the other 2.
Yes, the other 2 will still change your life. That's a guarantee. But tell me what you're looking forward to with the Living Forward book.
Well, the plan for Sunday, part of it is you create a life plan. And so that is Sunday will be when I finish all the parts to it.
I love that. You said Sunday, right?
Yes.
I just want to make clear that someday is not an actual day in the calendar. So just so you know, everybody,
Sunday.
and it's on this call, if you ever say someday, you're going to hear us kind of, Proverbs 27:17, which is iron sharpens iron with you, that you got to pick a real day, because someday is not a day in the calendar. So you pick Sunday, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Sunday, it's happening. So good. I'm excited for you. And so that means that you're literally going to write out your eulogy, or have you already done that?
I did that. So one of the things that my wife got me is this Remarkable tablet.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Which is, I really like it because it doesn't connect to email. It doesn't connect to text messages. There's no, alerts or thing. It's really good for focusing.
Is it remarkable?
It is. And so instead of having hundreds of notebooks with different things written in them, it consolidates all that and makes it a lot easier.
Awesome. So
that's where I've been taking notes on Living Forward.
So you're going to finish your life plan on Sunday. You started it and you're going to finish it.
Yep. And actually there's a workbook that you can download. I think you actually have to buy the book because I think you have to provide a Amazon receipt or something.
Okay.
And a lot of good prompts.
And so far in the work that you've done so far with that book and in creating part of your life plan, has it made an impact already on your day-to-day?
It has. I'm sure it will be more of an impact as time goes on and it's fully fleshed out and done. But it's certainly given me, I now have priorities that I know actually matter in my life and will make a difference. And it helps a lot with these no's. those things comes up. It's a lot easier to say no. It's like, yeah, that's
Yes.
not one of those main
Doesn't
things.
fit.
And
It doesn't fit with the vision. That's right.
That's
It
right.
doesn't go in the vision. Like Zach, I think you wrote an email this week about one of our first experiences on what, like, that client. You want to share a little bit about that kind of
Yeah.
story real quick?
Yeah. So this is when Brian and I were first working together. Brian had two different clients. Now, I want you to know where I was at in my own personal development at the time, which was business, wealth was like my only priority. And I had success with the business I was running at the time. Again, this is like right as I was leaving that business to hop on and join Brian because of this exact situation. So he had two people that were like, yeah, man, I want to pay for your services. And it was big packages. It was like $30,000 to pay for a couple months of work, each of these clients. And instead of what I would normally do in that situation is like, awesome, let's start. Brian took one of those and said, let's start. And the other one, he said, nah, never mind. I'm retracting the offer. I don't want to work with you.
And to be fair, I did send. We gave them a referral so that we referred them to someone else. And I thought that would be a match made in heaven because we didn't really like that guy either.
Yeah. It was yes, but he said no to this person that wanted to pay him $30,000, and it blew my mind. I could not comprehend that decision. It was very, very difficult. And I asked him about it. And he's like, yeah, it's pretty simple. I could not see myself inviting that person over for dinner to meet my family. So I'm not going to work with them. That's it. Brian turned down 30 grand because his priorities were set properly.
It was the 4 pillars of prosperity, but the big one is in our vision, in our value system. It's relationships are the foundation of everything that we do.
Yeah.
So it's just another kind of way of saying, yeah, I just can't see myself hanging out. Like and that's a colossal waste of time.
Yeah. It would have impacted our time in a very negative way.
I knew that we would become slaves to what was going on there because they were already like just the communication was shoddy. And I just knew that it would be so frustrating to work with them.
Yeah.
I knew it. Like it just wasn't going to be a very fruitful endeavor. Like, although that we might have had, sat in a little extra pretty financially, it just was not going to be worth it in the end, in the long run.
Yeah. And that was so different than the way I had run business with previous partners. So different. I mean, my previous business, it was just yes. If they want to pay us money, we let them. Mm-hmm. And so even now in Prosperity Movement, we still have our mission, vision, values. We still don't let people in that want to pay us. And they are shocked when we do that. They've never, most people have never experienced a business where you're like, yeah, I want to pay for your thing. And they're like, sorry, not for sale. Right? Like, what? And so but it's important to us because it's like we're the guardians of our amazing community. We want people that want to help other people, right? We want people that are just going to help the entire community continue to rise, continue to grow, continue to be strong.
And the other side of that is it's really hard to help people that like I said, this person that I was talking with today, even, I hate my life. And it's like, I want to help you, but everything that was coming out of this person's mouth was so incredibly negative. It was a victim mentality. And there's a certain layers of when we talk about the no thing where you have to be able to identify who you're working with and where they're at. And at what point would that become a toxic scenario? Right. And it's not that you don't want to help, but you just can't help everybody. I mean, what is the rule on the plane with the air? What do you got to do? You got to make sure that you're breathing properly first before you take care of anyone else. Right. And that's just such an important piece of the equation. So it's like, anyways, I digress. Coming back really quick to Cameron, I'm really excited for you that you're going to be doing this Sunday. And I just want to encourage everybody on this call that if you haven't done this Living Forward Focus yet, it's a book, a small investment. And guess what? just so everyone knows on this call, if you are already a member, okay, if you are already a member, in phase 3, we're going into this in more depth and detail. But guess what? Your tuition not only should increase your income, but it should reduce your taxes. So the investment that you made into yourself there should be a write-off. And there's a way for us to help you do that, for you to actually, you're coming onto these training calls. Today, we're training you in a lot of different ways to help you towards your diversification in phase 3. We have an EBEN 8 form for you to sign.
Yep.
And that will take all of your tuition, all the money that you're putting. If you've already paid your tuition in full, guess what? That's a write-off. You're going to talk to your CPA. You're going to make sure that you do this properly, right? Don't just take my word for it. You got to talk to your CPA, present to them your EBEN. Is it an EBEN 8 form? Is that what it's called, Zach?
So it depends on which country you live in. But yeah,
Okay.
if you're in Canada, it's an EBEN 8 form, or yeah, I think that's right, or something like that. EBEN 8, I think. And then, of course, in the States, it's a W9 form.
A W9,
but
okay.
either way, yeah, I mean, this is exactly how you can take that investment that you made and make it a tax write-off.
A tax write-off, yes. And we're going to help you increase your RPAs in more way than one this year. Okay,
Yeah.
So yes, you're here to learn how to trade, but also remember, you start moving commas over there, you're all of a sudden paying capital gains, which is 30% taxes. Okay, so how do you offset that? Diversification. Having a really good business structure. Maybe a business in a boat, one that works really well, one that has a 1,600% increase last month. 1,600% ROI.
Yeah. Was it 1,600 or was it 16,000? I can't remember.
I think it was 1,600.
1,600%. Yeah.
1,600%. But either way, that's insane. Most people want to get their 100% of their investment back. We got 1,600. Okay,
that's in 30 days, by the way, guys.
Yeah, 30 days. Okay, so at this rate, some of the stuff we're doing is surpassing and getting close. We'll just say that James agreed to pay us back what we paid him at some point. We'll just put it that way. But point is that there are lots of ways for you to increase your income and also start winning in each one of your domains. Because guess what? What we want to teach you goes further than just making money. It also goes further in your relationships. Who wants to have a fruitful relationship with your significant other? Who wants to have fruitful relationships? Come on. There's so many people right now that I see that we're coaching through that you're bringing all the garbage from the relationships into your trading. What happens when you start having seriously fruitful relationships because you're understanding KPIs and how to actually apply that in your relationships with your kids?
Gosh.
And this is living forward is going to help with all of those things. You're here to, yes, increase your income and drive more impact so you can ultimately do more of the things you love with the people you love most. You should have dominion of your time, your health, your relationships, and your finances. So keep on showing up. And we're going to make the world a better place. People are going to experience something new every time they come in your presence. They're going to be like, "What's up with this person? What's going on?"
Yeah.
There's so much overflow and increase coming from this person. I just want to hang out with him more. You're going to attract more of what you want and more of what you focus on properly, and you're going to start to remove more of the things that just shouldn't be there.
For sure.
Solutions. Anyways, Katrina, thank you so much. Where's Travis with the dad jokes? Yeah, we need a dad joke. Do you got a good joke for us there?
Cameron, you got a good dad joke, man?
I do.
I only have dirty jokes. It's not appropriate.
It's not a dirty joke. So what did Yoda say when he saw himself in 4K? HDMI.
Oh. Whoa. HDMI.
I like it.
Oh man. There's a couple Yoda ones that I can't think of the Yoda ones that I know right now. But yeah, there's Yoda Man. Yoda Man. Yoda Man, Cameron. Yoda Man. That's good.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for being here. Really appreciate it. This is actually a podcast, by the way, where this is supposed to be a live podcast kind of thing. We'll be posting on YouTube. Cameron, thank you, my man, for your comments and for your willingness to implement what we've been teaching. Really, really, you're gonna love it. I can't wait to see the results.
Oh, Shane, this one last one. This one, thank you, Shane. This is so good. Singing in the shower is fun until you get soap in your mouth. Then it becomes a soap opera.
Nice.
I'm glad someone else is picking up the ball because I got a little cheesy there for a second. Somebody had to save me. That's so good.
I love it. Well, thank you all. We do appreciate you being here. Have a great rest of your evening, and we will see you guys next week.